His mood had too much power because you kept treating it like a warning. If he was warm, you could breathe. If he went cold, you started checking yourself. And little by little, the look on his face started deciding how careful you needed to be. It may have started in a room where nothing loud happened. No shouting, no big fight. Just him walking in quiet, answering with short words, putting his keys down harder than usual, moving around you like you were in the way. You noticed it before he explained anything. Your body noticed it first. Your shoulders tightened. Your voice got softer. You thought about what you had said earlier and what you might have done. You wondered whether you should ask, or whether asking would make it worse. So you changed the room for him. You stopped telling the story you were about to tell and made your face calmer than you felt. Your words became careful. Instead of following your own thoughts, you watched his reactions. You became polite in a place where you should have been able to be normal. And when he finally softened a little, one normal sentence, half a smile, a small touch on your back, you relaxed almost immediately. That relief matters. Because it showed how much your body had already learned to wait for his warmth before it could relax. You were no longer asking, "Is this relationship good for me?" You were asking, "Is he in a good mood with me today?" And those are not the same questions. A man does not have to insult you to take over the room. He can do it by making his warmth uncertain and his coldness feel like something you have to solve. The trap was not only that his mood changed the room, it was that you began treating every change as something you needed to respond to. Before he explained what was wrong, you were already changing your voice, your face, and the amount of space you took up. You were no longer standing beside him. You were walking around him. The excuse that protected him was simple. You told yourself he was just stressed. That sounded reasonable, because sometimes he was. Work had been difficult. He was tired. Some days he looked worn out before he even spoke. So you gave his mood a story that made it easier to stay close. You did not call it neglect. You called it pressure. And once you gave it that name, you started carrying it for him. There was a moment when you were ready to say something honest. Maybe you wanted to say his coldness had changed the whole evening. Maybe you wanted to ask why you had to guess which version of him was coming home. But then you saw his face. You heard the flat answer. You watched him sit down looking exhausted and closed off. So you swallowed your question. You told yourself, "Not tonight. He has enough going on." But look carefully at what happened there. His mood did not just stop him from speaking clearly. It stopped you from speaking clearly too. His stress became the reason you had to be careful. His tiredness became the reason your needs had to wait. His bad day became the reason you felt you could not ask for anything. That is how the excuse worked. It made silence feel kind and restraint feel mature. Before long, wanting basic warmth started making you feel selfish. And because he sometimes became soft again later, the excuse survived. You would tell yourself, "See, he was just having a hard time. He still cares. He just shuts down. He still cares. He just shuts down." Maybe he did have hard days. Maybe he did shut down. But the part you avoided was this. His mood kept becoming something you had to manage, while your hurt kept becoming something you had to hide. His hard days were allowed to explain everything. Your hurt was never allowed to explain anything. His stress became a reason for his behavior. Your reaction became another problem you were expected to control. The real cost was not one bad evening. It was the way his mood began reaching into parts of your life where he was not even present. You could be at work, answering a question, and still feel half of your attention pulled toward home. Not because anything had happened yet, but because you knew how fast the room could change when he turned cold. So you started preparing before you saw him. You checked your face in the mirror before walking in. You looked around the house to see whether anything might bother him. You replayed the last conversation, searching for anything that might explain why he would be distant. You were not living the moment in front of you. You were trying to prevent the next shift in him. That kind of watching makes a woman tired. Even simple choices became difficult. You stopped choosing dinner by what you wanted and started choosing what would cause the least reaction. You stopped bringing up plans because you did not know which version of him would answer. Even your laughter became careful because relaxing around him no longer felt safe. Then you blamed yourself for being tense. You wondered why you could not relax. You told yourself other women would handle this better, but your body was not confused. It was responding to a man whose warmth could not be counted on, and whose coldness made you feel blamed without being told why. That was why you kept studying his face. His coldness felt like an accusation without words. And because he would not tell you what was wrong, your mind kept searching through everything you had said and done, trying to find the mistake before the distance became even worse. You were not only trying to improve his mood, you were trying to clear yourself of something he had never clearly accused you of. Look at the shape of that life. His mood decided the volume of your voice. His mood decided when you spoke honestly. His mood decided whether an ordinary night felt like home or like a test you had to pass. That is not closeness. It is living as though another person's silence must always mean something about you. The cost was that you stopped asking what kind of day you were having. You waited to see what kind of day he allowed you to have. You did not start watching him so closely for no reason. You learned that a small change in his face could change the rest of the evening. A short answer could mean hours of distance. A quiet entrance could make an ordinary question feel dangerous. Watching him closely became your way of preparing for what might come next. That response made sense inside the life you were living. You were trying to avoid another night of wondering what you had done. You were trying to catch the change early enough to keep it from becoming something larger. And when adjusting yourself seemed to make him soften, your mind treated that relief as proof that the adjustment had worked. But his mood becoming lighter did not prove that you had caused it. It only showed how quickly you had learned to take responsibility for his mood. Maybe he really was tired. Maybe work was difficult. Maybe he did not know how to talk about what he was feeling. None of that makes you foolish for paying such close attention, but none of it made you responsible for fixing the atmosphere in the room. You were not asking him to smile every hour or never have a difficult day. You were asking for something simpler: to know that his bad mood would not automatically become your fault, your problem, or your job to repair. You can understand why you became careful without continuing to live carefully. His face may have taught you to prepare. It does not have to keep deciding how small you become in the room. The step forward begins before you adjust yourself for his mood. Not after the evening is ruined. Not after you have swallowed your words again. Before that. It begins in the first quiet moment when you feel yourself scanning him. He walks in with a heavy face. His answers are short. The air changes, and your old habit reaches for the usual tools. Softer voice. Careful question. Smaller presence. Quick search for what you might have done wrong. That is the place to interrupt it. Not with a speech, not with punishment, with one private pause. One small pause can stop you from rushing to make the room feel better. In that pause, one plain question may help. Has he clearly told me there is a problem between us? Or am I already changing myself because his mood changed? That question matters because it stops you from taking responsibility before he has explained anything. Maybe he is tired. Maybe his day was hard. But until he speaks clearly and respectfully, you do not have to take responsibility for fixing his mood. In that ordinary moment, one small change is enough. You can keep making your tea. You can finish what you were saying. The room does not have to be lightened immediately. You do not have to become cold or extra sweet. You can remain yourself long enough to see what is actually being asked of you. If he needs space, he can say that. If something is wrong, he can speak. If he wants care, he can ask for it without making you guess what his silence means. And if he gives you nothing but a mood, then you stop treating that mood like an instruction. This will not make the discomfort disappear right away. Your body may still want to fix the air, but each time you pause before changing yourself, the trap loses a little power. He can look upset without turning your evening into an investigation. His mood can enter the room without deciding who you become inside it.